Okay, family. Um, so lately I've been getting back into like podcasting. I've been guided by the universe through different sources that keep kind of giving me the message, telling me you need to speak more. You need to put yourself out there more. You need to be seen. That's been coming up a lot. Like, I'm not a religious person. I am spiritual. I do have my practices, nothing too deep, but I'm definitely keeping myself in the light. But lately the message has been that I need to speak up more. I need to communicate more. I need to let the world know my thoughts on things because it could help someone else, right? Which I think is great. It probably will. Hopefully it will. I don't know. So I tried to go on TikTok again, right? Because they killed my account for no fucking reason. And I got so pissed off at them that I was like, fuck this app. And then when the app got deaded out, I was like, yeah, see, good. Yeah, that's what you get. Nice, thank you. And then, it came back up. People people were like, no, you should give it another chance. You can make money and blah, blah, blah. And I went back to it, right? And I made an account. And my beef with TikTok is that you can tell that it's not an American company based on the way they handle people on that app and the algorithm and the incentives, and it's kind of like I don't like I'm starting to understand a little bit why the MAGA people are pissed at them and want to like dead them out, right? Because the Chinese have this like system, that social system shit that I'm not particularly fond of, where you gotta like get people to like you and be in good social standing just so that you can live, just so you can eat. Like I just saw this on X. There's homeless folks in China that maybe they didn't pay something, or they got in trouble for something, or they some minor shit, and the government was like, yeah, nah, fuck that. You can't live nowhere, you can't buy no food, you can't do nothing because your social score is too low. So now there's just Chinese folks homeless living on the street because they can't even get food, fam. Like everything, their whole structure, like you got to take care of your parents. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take care of your parents. Of course, if you love your parents and you have a healthy relationship with them, you are all going to automatically take care of them. But China's like, yeah, nah, no matter what the fuck your parents are, if you're not taking care of them, that's points off your shit. Like, what? What? Like, what if your parents were abusive to you? Doesn't matter. If you want social standing in China, if you want to be able to go buy food and rent an apartment and go get a job, you gotta follow all these little fucking rules. And this, I'll find I kept the graphic for it. I gotta find it again. I have so much shit that I save. I gotta go find it. But there's a hierarchy. First, you gotta do this. First, you gotta do that, then you got to do this, and if you don't do that, you're going to get bumped down points. So then you get on TikTok and they doing that same shit with TikTok. You get points if you do this, you get points, you got to boot this. So I went on there, right? I actually went back cuz I saw this really cute guy that I liked, and I liked his content. So it sucked me back in, right? Because of that. But I'm like, let me start looking, following people and looking at, their strategies and see how they do this shit. Like, what are you supposed to do to blow up on TikTok? Eh, it's there's all these little tricks and rules, and it's kind of like, where what if you just make content that's authentic and reaches people? Why do you have to do all these gimmicks and trends and points? And so I was like, all right, well, let me take some of my podcast stuff that I've been doing on the low, that I haven't been posting because I've been going through personal shit. Let me go post some of that to And I do a lot of AI stuff because there's certain like technical things that I don't want to talk about, but I want to make a video on something like astrology or, something. And I don't want to be the one talking about it. So I'll use an AI voice and write it out and do all of that shit. And people actually dig it. Like I put some astrology stuff on that was just an AI voice and it's getting views from people. It's not a lot, but it's more than I was getting before. And it goes up every day. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's not bad. So then I said, well, then let me put up some shit that I'm going to talk about just personally. And I'm on the Stereo app, and I was on that app for a while, and I did a lot of really fun shows with people on that app. I highly recommend it if you want to do a podcast or if you want to just get up and talk, but you don't want to put your face out there like you would have to on TikTok or even Instagram. Stereo is a really fun spot. And there's a lot of really interesting conversations that come up. And you have a lot of feedback from people while you're in the middle of your broadcast. So it's a really interesting app. I highly recommend it. And if you get on there, let me know and I'll follow you and it's cool. So I said, let me take some of my content from there. Let me repurpose it into a video and I'll stick it on TikTok because TikTok actually allows you to put hour-long videos up, which you can do it here on Instagram or you could do it on YouTube, but TikTok is like, they want you to put longer videos. So I'm like, this is great. And I did put them up and people saw them, people responded. So cool. I'm like, all right, this is progress, right? So let me put my voice up. Let me do an hour-long thing where I just, I was just sort of riffing and talking about stuff. I uploaded and then these motherfuckers took it down. Like 2 seconds later, it violated our community guidelines. Well, what the fuck is the community guidelines? What was I talking about that offended it? At least when you fuck up on community guidelines on Instagram, they'll tell you, you said this and we didn't like that shit. And we take it down. You can put it again, you can put it back up, but you have to take that out. And I appreciate it. And you can appeal it if it sucks and you think it's unfair. But TikTok is like, no, we're just cutting your shit off and we're not telling you why. Or they'll cut the sound off. And it's like, well, what the fuck is the point of that? I just put up a video of me talking. Why are you going to cut the sound off? So I'm like, I figured, let me re-record it and put it up. And they did it to me again. And I'm like, what is the point of that fucking app? And then everybody, you scroll through all the people that are kind of like they're like TikTok advisors. They're trying to help you grow, which I appreciate it. But then I'm scrolling through TikTok and it's like, and this is not to downplay anybody, right? But maybe my algorithm is just sending me weird people or I'm following the wrong people. But it's like doom porn. Like every other thing, there's some girl crying because her man left her, or why am I not attractive? It's just full of a lot of Gen Z weird, mentally weird shit where people are and they're putting shit up that's like, why would you post this? This is real personal shit. Why would you post this? And then if it's not them, it's the young Gen Z women that's getting on there with the fake eyelashes and the wigs and the fake nails. And they sitting up there talking about men have to pay to talk to me because I put all this money into my looks. So I'm not having free conversations with nobody. Like, what? What are you? So because you're a fake bitch who needs to wear eyelashes and get BBLs and weaves every 2 weeks. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. I'm a natural head. I've been a dread for like 20 years now, 25 years. I don't really wear that much makeup. I'll wear makeup, in appropriate settings because I don't want to go out looking busted. So if I'm going to a function or if I have to be on site at a job, in a corporate thing, I'll put a little concealer on and some lipstick and, make myself presentable. But I'm not out here wearing other people's hair on my head and getting these fucking big ass fan eyelashes. And these young women are like, look, I put this money into it. One sister, this chick, I can't understand. Homegirl was like, if you're planning on dating me, this is my list of requirements. I pay $1,200 in rent. I got 2 kids that need clothes. I spend this in food. So if you dating me, you need to show up with this money. And I'm like, what in the fuck happened to women? Because in my day, and when I was in my 20s in the 90s, right? And it was all about female empowerment. I can make my own money. I can do my own shit. You always, if you went on a date with a guy, you paid your half, right? Not because you was trying to be hyper independent and all that shit. It was because if this nigga's crazy, if this dude ain't what you want, you don't owe him shit. Because you're paying for your own shit. And I cannot tell you how many dates I went on in the 90s when the internet was just new and internet dating first started. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know what I mean? Where you had like Black Planet and all of those and MySpace and all that and all those new dating apps and whatever. And, or Craigslist even, where, you would check the dating thing there. And you would meet guys and they would be okay. Like, you would have good times, but it was always pay for your own shit, because if this guy expects anything from you, if he's crazy, like this one guy I went on a date with, right? That's this Dominican kid. He was a cute guy and we had an alright dinner. He kept talking about his ex and this bitch is crazy. I fucking hate her. This bit and that. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to see this guy again, but just finish the meal. He's not you can't judge people for their life, right? So I was like, finish the date, thank him for it, pay for your part of the meal, and move on. And back in them days, I always had a plan B. So if I went out on a date with a guy, there was always a jungle party happening or a house music thing, house club or something. So if the shit didn't work out, I would just be like, cool, I'm gonna go, hook up with my people at this jungle thing and have a good time for the rest of my night. So basically, I stopped going out on dates because it was basically me taking myself out for meals with a dude sitting across from me. And I was like, why should I waste the fucking money when I could just go take that same money, go to Concrete Jungle, dance my ass off for 6 hours, get some good drinks, see my people, smoke some weed, have a good time, and then come home. If I'm going to meet people, I'm going to probably meet my people there, which I did. I met a lot of good people back in them days, and those people are still people I know now, like, 20, 30 years later, right? But the Dominican dude, we finished the date. And I go, you know what, I'm going to pay for mine, And he looked a little weird, like, what you mean you paying for yours? I'm like, no offense, but, I'm going to just pay for mine and I'm going to head out. But it was good to meet you. I hope you have a great rest of your summer. I think it was summertime then. And I'm going to head out. He's like, well, where you going? I'm like, I'm going to go meet up with my people. Well, where's that? And I was like, hey, you asking a little too many fucking questions, my dude. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm good. He's like, no, I'm going to take you home. No, I'm not going home. I'm going to go see my people. I'm taking you there. No, you're not. You're going to go in one direction and I'm going in the other. And this dude got real stupid with me. Like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay. And that was the beginning of the end of my dating era, right? After that, it was like, I just would meet guys at work, or I would meet guys that I hung out with in the scene and we would just be friends, and then eventually we would start dating. I'm like real old school like that. I don't do like one night stands, whatever. But it was like, bro, you spent the entire date talking about this bitch that you hate. He didn't ask me not one question about myself. He didn't get into anything about me. The whole date was just us eating food and him complaining about his bitch. Now I'm thinking in retrospect, now that I'm older, I guess he was expecting me to be like, oh, you poor baby, I'm so sorry that happened. But as he was talking and complaining, I'm like, I could see why this girl didn't want to fuck with him no more, because he's a complaining, So he tries to like follow me. And I was like, bro, no, 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 no. I had to call my people to meet me there to be like, no, we taking her here. You leave her alone. So I wonder now, 30 years later, when I see these women, like one girl was like, you got to pay me to talk to me? What? Like, when did women go full whore? Like, that's whore shit. That's like escort level shit. And these are not hot bitches either. These are like, one chick had had like 6 kids or some shit. Busted. Sagging titties. Not that my titties sag too. Like, I ain't gonna shit on but you can't be demanding that a man you ain't never met before. It's a blind date. You got 6 kids, titties to the floor, BBL stanking, sitting up there talk about, oh, you gotta give me money. Like one sister, she actually filmed herself doing this. I thought it was a skit at first, and I kept watching it, and it wasn't no skit. The man pulls up in his van, right? And the sister's like, hey, and this is their first date. And my dude pulls up, he gets out his truck. He's got like a big kind of like, big truck kind of car. And he's like, how you doing? And she's like, hey, do you mind taking me to the bank? I gotta go get some money. And he was like, okay, sure, why not? Before we go on the down, right? And she's like, unless you could help me. $750. This bitch wanted a man she never met before on a blind date, that this is their first date. And she actually filmed herself asking this man for $750 for her rent. Her rent. First of all, like, okay, it's one thing to be like, yo, can you take me to the bank to get cash? I can see that might be a bit weird, but I can see somebody saying, sure, on our way to the date, I don't mind taking you to, go to the ATM. That's no problem. But when she said, unless you could give me $750, my man was like, bitch, what? Excuse me? He was like, are you serious? And you could see in his face that he was at first he was confused. He was like, is this bitch asking me for money? And he got back in his car and left. And the woman is filming herself calling him, all right, brokey. Okay, brokey. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to women? What fucking happened? What is this? Like, I mean, I could understand if you're a baddie. But then really, what is a baddie at this point? A bitch with a big ass with these fake eyelashes. They all look the same. They all walk the same. They all talk the same. And I'm starting to understand why men are like, like that's why Kevin Samuels and those kind of guys got popular. Because these women really are being ridiculous. If he's been with you for 10 years and he's not giving you anything, that's different. But to just meet no, that was crazy for me, right? So it got me in a rabbit hole of what the fuck is really going on. And TikTok is perpetuating this shit. Like, at least on Instagram, my Instagram is a lot of Gen X stuff. It's a lot of music, a lot of art, a lot of dance, because that's what I love, right? A lot of cute babies and little cute animals, because I love animals and babies, right? So my algorithm feeds me, and then food. Then I got on a food thing, so now I'm getting so my Instagram algorithm is very wholesome. It feeds me very well, and it makes me happy. Like, I search for what I like, and it's giving me what I like, right? I tried that shit on TikTok, and it is just a bunch of weirdo Gen Z people that are socially inept, that are emotionally stunted, and the shit they're talking about is like, I cannot relate to this. I'm too old to relate to this. There's shit that Gen X has to deal with that's a whole different thing than what Gen Z is dealing with or millennials are dealing with, right? So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time for you to find a different platform. Now, on the flip side, I'm also on Snapchat, and I got like 3,500 girls on Snapchat that love my content, that love the astrology shit. They love it. And I'm like, it's weird to me how from one platform to another, it's just a completely different vibe, and that no matter how much you try to skew your algorithm on TikTok, it's just giving you the same shit. It's just the same shit, man. And it's kind of like, I don't want to do it like this. I would love to. I have other TikToks that are more business oriented that do pretty well, but they're just really boring business. It's not me. It's just business shit. It's work shit that I do, and it's connected to my LinkedIn. And it does okay, but I'm not doing it to blow up. I'm just doing it as a means of getting people to read an article or listen to a podcast. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make money off of it. For me to make real money, the money I want to make, I need to stick to what I've been doing for 30 years in the corporate world, which is, digital stuff, which is, I do instructional design and presentations and things like that. And I've been working with bankers and lawyers. And at this point in my life, at 55, the job market is not geared to our age range, but the experience we have in the corporate world is valuable. So it was me learning. I had to learn how to transfer my skills from being somebody's employee to being an expert in what I've been doing for 30 years. And that has worked so much better. I highly recommend, if there's any Gen Xers listening to this, whatever you've been doing for the past 25, 30 years, and if you find yourself unemployed, if you find yourself looking for work and you're not getting it, the best thing you can do is monetize your expertise. Whatever you're good at, whatever you've been plugging away at for 30 years, that's your expertise. And you need to find an audience that needs that expertise that you have. If you've been a social worker, then you need to start training Gen Zers that want to go into social work. If you've been, if you're a carpenter, if you're into construction, there's a whole generation of kids that don't know how to do shit. You can start a video instructional channel just to teach them how to do basic shit, because they don't know. They have absolutely no skills for anything. A lot of them are good at coding. A lot of them are good at content stuff. But come on, man. We all know the direction the world is going in. All it takes is one fucking EMP and the whole internet is fucked. All it takes is somebody detonating something in space enough to knock out all the fucking satellites, and then we're right back in the fucking Stone Age where we were in 1990 with no internet, right? But in 1990, my ass could still get a job because I knew how to do shit. If we went dark, if the fucking internet went dark right now, you would have an entire generation of kids that would just sit there bugging the fuck out and wouldn't know how to do shit. So Gen X, figure out what you're an expert at and then gear it towards the younger people because they're lost, right? So my goal for TikTok was just to kind of learn how it works. And I'm kind of like, these Chinese people they got people on hamster wheels on TikTok. They're just putting out the dumbest shit just so that they stay in an algorithm that brings them people, but they're not really doing anything. They're not really teaching anybody anything. The cute boy I was attracted to that I started following, I like his content because it's just him being himself, and he has integrity, so I can listen to what he's talking about and relate to it and and vibe with it. But there's really, or my contemporaries that are trying to start, there's some comics I know that are there, but it's just kind of like, this ain't it, man. I don't feel safe putting my art up. The guy was talking about they were making fake accounts of his shit, and I'm like, I'm not putting any of my artwork or my music just to have some goofball sitting in their fucking basement stealing my shit, which brings me to my next point. So in this past year, I was on X. X, Twitter, but I call it whatever the fuck you want, right? The reason I was on Twitter heavy was because of news, because especially when COVID first started. I knew about COVID before a lot of people knew about COVID because I was on Twitter watching it blow up in China in like November of 2019, right? And that platform is crazy, but I got to tell you, they were getting news before the news was getting the news, right? So I'm seeing in China in like November that there's this horrible flu going around and it's getting people sick. And that November, I got sick. Now, I'm thinking it was from my weed pen that I got this horrible cough, right? I'm thinking maybe it wasn't. And there was a point in, I believe, 2019, that fall, where there was a lot of people who were smoking weed pens who were going to the hospital with lung issues. And they were blaming it on the weed pens. But in retrospect, I think that was early COVID. I think we all got like a very weaker strain of whatever the fuck was going on in China, because I got a horrible cough and got sick for like 3 weeks. A couple of people I know did, and we're all weed smokers. So we all chalked it up to maybe we was all smoking off the same blunt and we all got sick. You know what I mean? But in hindsight, I'm thinking it was early COVID. So I'm watching that shit go from a couple of cases in China. I'm like, that's interesting. Let me bookmark that. That's maybe in, let's say, September, October. Then all of a sudden in November, it's like 1,000 people got it. Like, damn. Then in December, it was like 100,000 people got it. Then by the end of December, it was like motherfuckers was getting it in Italy. And I was like, holy shit. Thank God for that, though, because I knew what it was as it was evolving. So I was like, yeah, nah, fuck that. I ain't kissing on nobody. I ain't smoking. I even took a tolerance break. I was like, let me not smoke weed just to see, if my lungs are going to be okay. So by the time we got to January of 2020, and my 50th birthday was in January of 2020, right? I was like, yo, this is some real shit. This is like a major fucking plague. And I was like, okay. Like, thank God you know about it. Thank God you can do people were doing research. There was Chinese dissidents that were leaking information about what it does to the lungs and how traditional Chinese medicine was dealing with it, which was like a lot of garlic and a lot of ginger and clearing the lungs. And so I was like very lucky that I was on that app to be able to get that information, and I highly believe that it saved me from getting sick, because let me tell you, I was living in a like a share like we weren't roommates, but it was a big old brownstone house that they rented out little sections of. So that's where I lived. And I was very lucky that I didn't have to carry a full rent. I got unemployment, I got the stimulus, and I got all that extra money they gave. So I was okay. I didn't have to worry about that. But man, the people next door, you could hear them hacking their fucking guts up. One of them had to go to the hospital. He was in the hospital for like 3 months. There were people on my block that dropped dead from the shit because you could see the little memorial candles. And I was like, whoa, this is a real fucking plague. And it made me get very serious about who I was, what I wanted, because I'm 50. I'm turning 50 during the onset of a plague. So I decided, okay, you're going to have to make certain changes in your life. No more drinking. If you smoke, you got to be very moderate about it. You have to take your health seriously. I became celibate because I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be fucking around with anybody and get COVID and die in 2 weeks off a mediocre dick. So no, none of that. And in doing that, when you do that, when you step back from whatever your life was before, you start seeing shit for what it really is. You know what I mean? Like, I think because we went through that experience, because so many people died, because there was so much inherent confusion, and like people really didn't know if this was really the end or not, people started bugging the fuck out. They started doing weird shit. They started acting out of character, doing real nasty shit. You know what I mean? Like, on some YOLO, if we all gonna die, then I'm gonna go do this type of shit. And I was like, ew. ew, like people I knew for years was doing some grimy shit. And I'm like, I don't want that. So for the last 5 years, I've just been watching people devolve. And now that we know what COVID has done to people's bodies and their brains, there's a lot of people walking around with fucking brain damage because they got this shit 7 times, along with any physical ailments they got, right? And then on a spiritual level, because this is it was such a massive thing, it starts making you question, okay, well, where's my spirit at? What is my conscience clear? And do I have to atone for things that I've done because this is the end? I had a best friend for 25 years. Loved that. That was like my brother. And one day he just didn't feel good, August of 2020. And the next day he was gone. And that shit shook me to my core. Cause he was like, I texted him on a Tuesday, like, yo, I'm gonna come. We used to make weed gummies together. He taught me how to make weed gummies. So we would get together every couple of weeks and make huge batches, and I would different flavors, different whatever. And then we had a group of people, because weed was legal. It just got turned legal because Cuomo legalized it. So we were like, hell yeah, we gonna make some money off this shit. So we started making gummies. And he taught me his method. So we would get together and we would do batches. So this particular weekend, I go see him. We had a disagreement about shit, so we didn't speak for a while. But this particular weekend, I was like, no, let me go see my people. Let's make a batch. His wife and kids, who I introduced him to his wife, by the way, like she was a good friend of mine. I thought they would be good together. They stayed together 25 years till he passed, right? So the girls and his wife are upstate, but they're on their way back home. So we're doing our batches and we're talking and we're working a lot of shit out. And a lot of things that were not spoken about for a long time got spoken about that weekend. And I let my brother know that I loved him. He let me know that he loved me. Whatever was wrong, we squashed it. We had a beautiful weekend. The girls and the wife come home and we all just vibed out because that was our tribe, right? Then I text him Tuesday. Yo, all right, so I got friends. They want a new batch, so I'm going to come do a new batch this weekend. And Thursday, he was gone. And that shit shook me so fucking hard. Not just because of the shock of it, but like he was probably one of the closest people to me, and I hadn't really lost anybody that close to me. And I couldn't even go to his funeral because there was nothing in me that wanted to see him laying there dead. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't have to say goodbye to him because I already did last weekend when we vibed out. So I made peace with it. One, because he didn't have to go in the hospital and die like all those poor people with COVID. He just went to sleep on the couch with his little girls playing next to him, and he just didn't wake up. So as much as I was in grief, I was thankful that he didn't suffer. I was thankful that he was at home with his people, with his family, and that I was thankful that I got to tell him how much I loved him, and he knew it. So as much as I was in grief, I made peace with it, right? But everything got different after that death because it made me start looking at who am I dealing with? What kind of people am I dealing with? Who's in my family that I'm dealing with that I need to stop dealing with? How much of other people's negative energy is mine? Because after spending damn near 5 years, the last 5 years by myself, I'm like, I don't hate myself. I love myself. I'm not the most outgoing. I can be outgoing, but I can be in solitude and enjoy my own company for very long periods of time because I write or I do music or I do my artwork or I'll do podcast shit on stereo and talk to people like that. And that's enough for me. Like, I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need to be out, being on the scene, being outside all the time. But because I've been in this mode for so long, the messages I'm getting from the universe is no, now you did the right thing. You went into hibernation mode. You did the work. You did the introspection. You grieved. You looked at how you may have fucked up on yourself. You looked at your weaknesses. You looked at yourself realistically and you did the work, right? But you can't stay in hibernation mode. You got to get out. And that has been a problem because I don't like what I'm seeing out there, right? So, okay, I'm on Twitter. There was a young woman I was following, a Gen Z young woman, and, you know, woo woo astrology stuff, whatever. And at first I was like, all right, I take everything with a grain of salt. And this girl is young. What the fuck does she know? And her audience is young people. It's not somebody my age. So after a while, I started seeing shit on her page that I was like, you know what? I'm not really into this. This girl is not my age. Let me just block her because I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like seeing it on my timeline. So I didn't say nothing. I just quietly blocked her ass. And that was it. I thought, okay, move on. This girl, I've dealt with narcissistic people in my life before, right? And I've dealt with crazy people on drugs, alcoholics. None of that shit is foreign to me. I've grown up in it, right? But I've never in my life seen a bitch this crazy. She started stalking me not only stalking me from other accounts, but she was stealing shit I was saying and passing it off like it was her saying it. There's an athlete that I wrote to on Twitter, not in any kind of like romantic way. I follow the sport he's in, and I would start commenting on plays that they made, whatever. And the guy's Spanish, so I would write it in Spanish because I'm half Puerto Rican. So I'm like, you know what, you need to learn your language at the very least. So at least write in your language and learn how to do it. So I was doing that. So this bitch she's stalking me from other accounts, which I didn't know at the time she had other accounts. And she's reading what I'm writing to the athlete, right? And again, it's all real benevolent, general shit about the game and, shit like that. I'm not trying to kick it to him. I know when I'm flirting. I was not flirting with this guy. And I never met him. I never spoke to him. Just being a supportive fan. She was reading the shit that I wrote to him and then contacting him like she was me, like she knew about the sport to get to him. Right? And she's writing shit on her Twitter in reference to it, and I'm starting to get hip to it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Now, again, it's none of my business. I'm not with the guy. I don't know him. But she's stealing my shit to go try to impress him because she sees me talking to him. So I was like, that's some weirdo shit. I don't like this girl now, right? So now I'm like, do I put my shit on private so she can't read it? Now this is all last summer. Then she starts writing on her page that she's fucking him. And I'm like, wow. Like, not only writing about it, she's bragging to the bitches that's on her shit. I got the tea. I'm going to show y'all how to, she's on some groupie shit. Not only was she fucking him, she was fucking other dudes on the team. Now, okay, there's two ways to look at this shit, right? Wow, that's some crazy shit. But at the same time, these girls are young. This is what they do. This is what you do, I guess, when you're a young Gen Z girl. We didn't necessarily do this. I mean, I'm sure there was always groupies, right? And in the 90s, they was, we had Freaknik and shit. So there was some freaky shit going on, but it was just kind of like she was bragging about it. And I'm like, everybody knows this man is married, sweetie. Like he's a public figure. Like they know. So again, I'm like, this shit ain't got nothing to do with me. But then she starts basically, so because she's using me as I guess her template of getting to them, she's basically talking about me to these people that I never even met or don't know to make herself look like she's better than me. And then she's taunting, she's like taking the shit that I'm saying and trying to like taunt me into competing with her for this man that I don't even know, that I don't even live in the same state as this man, right? And I'm like, wow, this bitch is weird. This is weird. Like, I get being groupies. I get being hot in the ass in your 20s and wanting to fuck. That's normal. But like, why are you fixated on somebody that you don't even know? So now I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? So I go look her up by her online name, and all of a sudden I'm starting to find scammer accusations. Like, she got a history and a reputation of stealing content, of infiltrating groups of people and fucking all those people and then turning them against each other. And these are people who were involved with her writing about this shit. So I'm like, okay, now this is potentially like, this bitch is a stalker. Like, this could get weird. So I look up her other accounts. I blocked them all, right? So I'm like, okay, whew, I don't care if she's fucking this man. He ain't my man. I don't know him. Okay, and this is where we get into the negative energy part of it. So she's off bragging about this man, fucking the other men, you know, how she's a baddie, sugar baby type, you know, she's bragging. She's trying to teach, she's actually hosting classes to teach these other dumb young bitches how to do what she's doing. Like, wow. And I'm sitting there flabbergasted, like, wow, is it all these girls or is she just a piece of shit? Like, is this what they're on now? Because it's not what we was on when we were younger, when I was younger, in my 20s. There was always hoes. Like, I had a hoe friend that used to go get flew out and fuck a bunch of people, but homegirl died of AIDS in like 1991. When it was like, it was still gay men just getting it back then, but then it started to leak into the hetero population because of girls like my friend who was just jumping on dick just because I guess that's what you do when you're in your 20s. You jump on dick. I was more monogamous. I had boyfriends that I was in love with. That was my thing. And I would be, you know, I would be in love and get freaky with my man. That was my goo, but I wasn't really throwing it out like that. And most of the guys that I was with in my 20s, I went to school with them. I knew them already for years. So it was like we were friends first and then got together. But I'm looking at these young women and I'm like, wow. Like, y'all don't care that there's mad STDs. Y'all don't care that these men would probably choke your ass out in a second. You don't care that women are getting murdered doing this shit and getting with the wrong dudes. No, it was about clout. It was about, I stole him from you. And I'm like, I don't even know him. Honey, let me tell you something. The most valuable lesson that shit taught me is if you roll with negative energy like that, you're going to infect other people's lives. You're going to infect other people's luck. That dude she was fucking, not only did they lose the most important games they were supposed to win, not only did they go from first place to seventh place, motherfuckers got injured. Motherfuckers had to quit with no explanation of why they was quitting. The dude that was fucking her, they ain't renewing his contract. His shit is over. And I was like, yo, all the dudes she was fucking with, they all had some bullshit happen to them. Either they got injured or they got suspended or they got, they had to pay fines and shit. Like, they were on top before this. And that was the craziest lesson for me. Like, yo, I just saw this shit happen in real time. This negative ass, evil little cunty bitch ruined these men's shit. It was like Samson, and it was like the Samson and Delilah story from the Bible. Delilah was with Samson, but she was jealous of his power. She was jealous of his strength. And so she was trying to figure out how to undermine it and get it for herself. And that's exactly what this little bitch was doing. She thought she was gonna get clout. She got these dudes involved in a financial scheme that she was gonna make money, and of course the shit didn't make no money. And now people is looking at her like, so where's the return on this? Like, what is this? So I was like, wow, that's a lesson. Like, when I tell you they fell off. This man, this man that she fucked, that she was obsessed with getting because she thought he was with me, but he wasn't even with me. He wasn't even responding to the shit I was saying. He would just give a thumbs up and that's it. So it wasn't even like he was with me. This motherfucker now has to work twice as hard to still get his shit kicked out at the end of the year for fucking with this bitch. Before that, he was on fucking fire. Now he can't do. He's people are like, wow, what the fuck is wrong with him? And I'm sitting here flabbergasted. Like, that's what negative energy does. It robs you. All you gotta do is fuck the wrong person, and all that shit is on you now. As I went into the rabbit hole about it, there's people calling it sexually transmitted demons, which made me start thinking, really, demons? Are we talking about demonic possession? So I went down the rabbit hole about what demonic possession is, and there was one guy that made a lot of sense about what it actually is. We think of demons as like these little creatures with like fangs and they're like evil, and because that's what we've been shown through art and through movies. But that's not what it is. This guy broke it down. He said demon, the word demon, is de-emotional. The D means without or a lack of, and man is the emotions. So these people live in negative emotions, which means if you believe in spirits, some people don't. But if your vessel is in a negative place, if you are harboring negative emotions, then you're going to attract more of them into you. Think of it as if you were to look at your body as being filled with smoke. If you're in a positive place, if you're in a spiritually healthy place, then that smoke is more like steam. It's moisturizing yourself. It's giving you nutrients. It's white, it's light, it's permeating you, right? But when you're in a negative spot, your body is filled with black smoke, like when trash is on fire and you see that black smoke, or when there's burning rubbers. That is what is filled in you when you're in a negative place, and it clouds your judgment. So as this is happening with this girl, I'm like, yo, listen, I might need to take more proactive steps to check my other accounts to see if this bitch got it. So I come to my Instagram account, and I see that this bitch made like 9 other accounts. No followers, no nothing, but it's her accounts. And she's so stupid, she's naming it after her name with other extra shit on it. One of them said Lucifer. I was like, what the fuck is that shit about? So I'm blocking, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Like, what am I dealing with here? Like, it's one thing to maybe not like somebody, or I'm not saying jealousy, because I don't have shit for nobody to be jealous about, but it's one thing to like not like somebody, right? It's another to be maniacally trying to get in somebody's energy, to get in their life. I had a court issue with my landlord. There was a lot. I lived there for 7 years. It was fine. That last year, they started acting mad stupid. So I was like, you know what? I ain't paying you shit till we go to court about this, right? So I had this issue with my landlord. This bitch actually like looked up my information. Like, she got my name or something. Like, what the fuck? I had to take all my pictures down off of that account. Like, what is this bitch really doing? And I think she was trying to show up at my court shit, like on some mentally ill weirdo shit. So I was like, okay, it's time to start getting proactive with this. So I went to the New York State Attorney General for cyber stalking page, and I was like, yeah, this is what this bitch is doing. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to maybe look into this shit. And she's also doing a little financial fraud. Keep a lookout for this bitch. I'm not saying I don't know what she's doing, but I don't like the vibe. I don't like that I have to dead out accounts. I don't like that she's getting personal information. So if she's gonna be trying to pry into my shit, y'all need to start looking into her shit. Okay. This is August of 2024. And then after a while, I was like, okay. I even think she was reaching out to people I knew, like personally knew, like going through my accounts to see who I follow and like talking to them doing shit. And I'm like, okay, so this bitch is legit fucking crazy. So the only way that I still don't know if I'm fully rid of this bitch, but the only way that I knew for sure that I could get this bitch off my table with her shit was to put my account on private in on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I had to look at all the accounts that she made through all her little names, and I blocked all of them. And then I had to change my name on Instagram like 5 times. That's what, like 5 times. And then for perfect measure, I went to the athletes page and I had to delete every goddamn comment I ever made on his page so that this crazy bitch couldn't go look on his page and find my name again. Like, what the fuck are we doing? So it took me down a rabbit hole of what am I dealing with? Is this a mentally ill bitch? Is this bitch evil? Is she possessed? What is it? So I went down the rabbit hole. Apparently, and I don't know how long this is a video game reference, but they called people like that NPCs or energy vampires or destiny swappers. So basically the idea, this is what I'm picking up from the research I've been doing, is there are people who have nothing going on inside of them. They don't know who they are. They don't have any core of who they are. They don't believe in themselves. And they figure, I'll steal somebody else's life. I'll steal somebody else's work. I'll steal somebody else's look. I'll steal somebody else's personality. And then we're going to try to get rid of them so I can live their life. So these motherfuckers do shit like take out insurance policies on you and then try to have you killed. They have people stalking you so that they can file lawsuits. When I went down this rabbit hole, I'm like, there's people doing this shit off of just social media. Like, we live in like that now, where you're so crazy and so. I use demonic because I don't know if there's another word for it, but like you gotta be on some evil, dirty, grimy, dark shit to focus on a person that you've never met that intensely to try to fuck up their life. Like, first of all, who the fuck got time to do that? When I looked into this bitch's life, she don't have no job. She ain't never went to no college. She ain't never had no job. This bitch fucks people and scams people for money. That's all she does. Is she fucks men and gets money, and then she scams people with astrology and all that shit and gets money off of that. And then she fronts like she's rich, right? I'm like, how the fuck are you rich when all you do and she's not even original about the astrology. She's stealing it from all the other people she's reading it from. Like, anybody that studies astrology, we all read the same shit. You understand? There's nobody, unless you're Indian, from India, and you're studying Vedic astrology, and you have that in your family for generations, that's different. But all the Western people that know astrology, everybody's been reading the same books and shit that's out for the last 50, 60 years, bro. The hippies were all on the same shit as this. So there's nothing about astrology that somebody knows that wasn't written already. Only the Vedics have their specific, if you want to appeal to your Venus, you have to do this mantra and this chant, and you have to offer this. Like, they on a different thing with it. But Western astrology, it's the same. Everybody's learning the same exact shit. You're not special. You're not intuitive. You're reading the same shit that Pippies have been reading since the 60s. It's the same shit. It's just you interpreting it for the dumb bitches that ain't never heard of it before, right? So I'm like, as this is happening, I'm also doing my own spiritual research. I'm doing what my transits are and what my numerology is and and I'm starting to realize that all of this shit is happening for a reason. At first I thought it was random, but it's like, no, baby. You're going through this process. You're going down these rabbit holes because you have to learn this so that you can protect yourself from it. Protect yourself how, right? It's not about the other person. It's not about, oh, I have enemies and I have to do this and that and this ritual. No. None of that shit matters. What matters is your own perception of yourself. Because these people, the NPCs, the energy vampires, the narcissists, they thrive off of your confusion. They thrive, especially if you're an empath. If you can feel what other people feel, if you can understand other people's life and put yourself in their shoes, those kind of evil bastards love that shit because they're trying to take you out your character. And in taking you out of your character and making you mad or angry or sad or emotional, they feed on it. They feed on that and they get pumped up off of that because there's nothing happening inside of them. They need you. They need you to be mad. They need you to be scared. They need you to be angry. They need you to be hurt because that's the only way they feel any pleasure. That's the way they feel any accomplishment because they can't do it themselves. They can't pull that up. And when you look at this girl's life, she's stealing people's content. She's stealing people's looks. She got so jealous. So here she is claiming that she knows the shit that I know to get this man to fuck her and give her money. And then she starts getting jealous of the fact that she's not the main one in his life. If you're a hoe, right? If you're a hoe, you're a groupie, and you like fucking for the sake of fucking and getting the money, you should be happy to get the dick and the money. That should be your thing. This bitch was so empty inside that she started to crave his money, his fame. She wanted it for herself. She wanted to be the one that got that. And I was like, but you don't do nothing for that. You don't know nothing. You don't have no talent for nothing. You're not a singer. You're not a dancer. You're not an actor. You're not putting any effort into developing a skill. You're just stealing other people's shit and trying to pass it off like it's you. And that can't last for very long. In my professional life, I write about cryptocurrency and finance. So she found that and figured, oh, I'm going to do that too on some ghetto shit. And it's like, honey, you're just some weird scammer bitch. You can't just, you know what I'm saying? You can't just decide you know something about something because the AI told you. And it's one thing if you want to learn about it through AI and then implement it in your own life. That's fine. But to pass yourself off as an expert when you just figured that you didn't even learn it. You just had AI tell you what it was. So now you're going to pass yourself off as an expert to a bunch of ignorant girls that don't know shit about it. And so they all invested in that shit. Now, okay, it's not my money. I don't care, right? But it made me angry. Like, yo, you stay scamming people. And it made me pissed. Like, who the fuck you think you are lying to people to get their money on some bullshit? So I was like, all right, well, since you want to do that, let's put that energy out to the SEC, you know, the FBI finance division. Since you want to be up in my shit, let's put them onto your shit. And my attitude was like, look, I don't like how she's rolling. I don't like how she's taking other people's shit and doing that. So if they investigate her and she's not doing anything wrong, then no harm done, right? But if she is, then at least they'll catch this bitch before she takes more people's money. And I went to look at her account and they're kind of like, what's happening with this? Like, what's going on? She's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. And I'm like, no, bitch, you're going to get hit. Like, she's getting into fucking RICO territory. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's how stupid this bitch is. Like, you on RICO level with your shit right now. And you got people looking at you doing this shit. Now, again, like I said, if she wasn't doing anything really wrong, then they not going to do nothing. But it's the fact of, if you think you're going to do shit and somebody's not going to clock you, like, you decided to put yourself in my shit, so now I'm putting myself in your shit. And you better hope that what you're doing is on the up and up. I don't think it is. But whatever, right? So I checked the other day, right? Because I'm like, you know, she don't know. Maybe she do, maybe she don't. I don't give a fuck no more. But I'm like, let me just make sure my shit is protected. My main concern is she's not siphoning off of any of my content anymore for herself. As long as I don't see any evidence of that, then I don't got a problem with her no more, right? She was putting up some shit, right, in the past about, you know, hexing people, spells, shit like that, talking that kind of language, right? And I was like, look, you know, I've been up on my spiritual shit for a while. I understand how that energy thing works, you know. And my thing is, you can't, I think there's a guy on Twitter called GG33. He's like a numerology dude. He's kind of controversial, but he be making points, right? And he made a point. He's like, you cannot hex somebody that didn't do nothing to you. He said, he called it a hook. He said, in order for you, if you're inclined to do that kind of work with energy spells, I don't do that shit. I feel like if I gotta do rituals and spells to get shit, then it ain't mine. Like, I shouldn't have to do none of that shit to get mine, to get what is meant for me. If it's meant for me, it's gonna come for me, come to me, come with me, right? So I don't believe in that. The only thing I do in my practice is, you know, I'll do my candles and I'll focus on myself. I'll focus on my own spirit, checking in with myself. If I have to focus on money, I'll put my little green candle up and I'll focus on my money and what I need to do. It don't have nothing to do with anybody else. It don't have to do with getting anybody to give me anything. It's all about me having the power to generate it myself and control it myself, for myself, without anybody else's input, because it's my energy, not anyone else's. And his point was, if you feel, let's say you don't like somebody, and let's say you're inclined to use magic or whatever the fuck you want to call it, spirituality, hexing, all of that, if they didn't do nothing to you, then there's no hook for it to catch on, right? There's nothing for it to latch onto, because it's all karma based. For instance, let's say I fucked you over in a fucked up way. I stole money from you. I fucked your husband. I did something horrible. I spoke badly, gossiped about you or something. And I caused you a problem. You lost your job. You lost your mate. You lost friends. Your health suffered. If you were to turn around and want to hex me for that, you would have a reason, because I did something fucked up to you, right? So you would have a reason to go, oh no, send that shit to this person, if that's what you believe in, right? And you have to believe in it for it to be true. Like it's like a placebo effect. If you believe it works, it does. If you don't, it won't, right? But if you decide you just don't like somebody and I'm gonna do black magic. You're gonna get voodoo dolls or pay people or do jar spells. But all you're doing is fucking yourself, because that shit has nowhere to go. It's like a boomerang. It's like throwing a boomerang. You think you're gonna hit something, but it's just gonna whip around and come back to you. And let me tell you something. That's what's happening to this bitch now. She think I don't know, but I know. I've been seeing it, and it's not because of me. All I did was like, look, I don't know who this little fucking girl is. I don't have nothing to do with her. If she sends me anything, send it back. It don't have nothing to do with me. I don't hate this girl. I don't know this girl. I don't want to know this girl. But if this is what she's on, just send that shit back. Don't you know? And they usually do it around moons. Full moons, new moons. That's how they roll. They do that shit, right? Because they're followers, because they're empty. This is what I've learned about this shit. Fucking covens and all this bullshit. These are people who have no power within themselves. They don't even believe they have personal power. They don't believe in their own will, right? So they get together in groups with each other, and they do perverted shit. They fuck each other. They do sex magic. They do spell, and they think in their mind, because there's 20 of them doing this shit, that they're powerful and they're stronger and they're gonna steal. Like I learned, there's a whole crime ring of people in covens that do these horrible spells to people, take out life insurance policies, and then wait for them to either kill themselves because they've gone crazy, or they'll hire somebody, or they'll do all this shit just to get insurance money, and then they split the shit with the coven, which to me is some bottom feeding ass dirtbag shit. Like, how the fuck you think you gonna be powerful in life, scrounging on life insurance policies, fucking each other, doing all this shit, and then you come to find out a lot of these fucking covens, everybody got AIDS and is dying now. Like legit. Like they are legit giving each other AIDS, doing all this shit, and one by one, coven members are just dropping dead. They all got AIDS. I would not be surprised if them team dudes got burned by this bitch, but I can't say that for sure, right? But it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was the case. And they think because there's 20, 30, 40 of them all fucking on each other doing this perverted dirtbag shit that you're going to be afraid of them. And I think that there's some people that are, but I'm kind of like, none of this shit so what? So you're a bunch of weirdos fucking on each other, chanting shit, and you think it's got something to do with me, but I don't care about that shit. That's your shit. So when I checked her page, she was saying stuff like, you have to keep trying. Sometimes it doesn't work the first time. Things are bad. One of her people died, but she made it about herself. And now she's like, I have health issues, and I have to treat every day as precious. So before it was destroy your enemy totally, and she thought she was on top last year, and now this year she's trying to stay alive. She's trying to, I'm trying to make every minute count. And I'm like, what the fuck did you get, bitch? What are you suffering with? What did you catch doing the shit you was doing with all these fucking people playing fucking? I don't have nothing to do with that shit. I'm in my house quiet, watching my movies, reading my books, doing my beats, putting up my little shit on Instagram, looking at cute boys on TikTok, like minding my business. And she's falling apart. She's got to pep talk herself every day because something happened to her. Now, what it is, I don't know, but it sounds like it's health related. She put some shit up when has anybody had issues with insurance or health or death? And I was like, sounds like some shit is catching up. So it made me realize, like, how does this happen? Like, how do you protect yourself? And y'all ain't gonna like the answer, but you got to cut your circle down. You gotta look at all the people you roll with, family, friends, who their friends are, who you working with, and you gotta start looking into how are they rolling. Are they constantly arguing with people? Are they constantly having to be in some kind of like tizzy? Are they running around? Are they constantly in conflict with people? Are they drinking a lot? Are they smoking a lot? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you are an empty person and you're drinking and smoking, on top of that, you're almost like a beacon for these negative energies. We're not going to call them demons, you could, but I believe just like you have good spirits, spirits of light that show up, angels that show up and help you when you least expect it, angels that give you encouragement through strangers that you don't even know. But like, I had that happen once. I went through a really bad situation where I was staying with a friend and this friend flipped out. And it was the dead of winter. There was a blizzard coming. I didn't know where the fuck I was going to go. I had all my shit in this guy's house. And this was a friend of mine for years, but he went off on his own mission, right? So now here I am having to get all my shit out of this house. There's a major blizzard coming in like 8 hours. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I don't know where the fuck I'm going to go. And all of a sudden, I went to Dunkin' Donuts to like get myself something, and there's a woman sitting there with her baby, and she's screaming in the phone. I don't have nowhere to go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it was like God was like, look, you're not alone. Somebody else is going through this same shit. So I was like, are you okay? She's like, no, me and the baby, we don't know where we're gonna go. This man changed the locks. He put my shit out in the street, and I was identifying with that. So I bought her and the baby some I bought them her juice and some food, and I was like, sis, I'm going through the same thing. We sat there, we cried a little bit, we like encouraged each other, and I was like, you're gonna get through this, don't worry about it, right? So when I leave her, I go and I sit, and I'm like, where the fuck am I gonna go? I was like, let me call my boy Henry and see if he still has that spare room. And I call him, I tell him, he's like, yeah, bitch, come now, I'll leave the key. I'll leave, because we knew we had a friend in common and the same bit. He's like, I'll leave the key with her. Just go get the key. Bring your shit. Don't even worry about it. And I was like, oh my God, right? So now I feel like, okay, I can do this. So then the blizzard is coming. I have my whole life is in this hallway of this building. And I'm like, how am I going to get this shit from here to there? I called a moving company. I'm like, do you have anybody? He was like, listen, we just got a cancellation because of the snow. We're in the Bronx. He's like, where are you? I told him where I was. He's like, okay, if we could get you, he's like, how much stuff you got? I said, well, I got a storage place. Get me there. He was like, cool. It starts snowing. These guys showed up as it was snowing. They loaded all my shit in. I was like, thank God. I was like, how much do you want to get, paid for? Like, how much is it? He's like, it's usually $250, but since these people canceled, we're not going to make you pay that. Just give us $200, $100 a piece, and we got you. I was like, cool. And I had it on me. No problem. They get me to the storage place, right? So now it's snowing harder. And I'm like, oh shit. They were like, listen, sis, we're going to offload this for you, but we gotta go because we were in Long Island and we gotta get over the bridge before this shit gets bad. We gotta get the truck back. And I was like, okay, no problem. But I was like, fuck it, if I gotta do it by myself, I'll do it by myself, right? So now there's maybe like 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground, and everything I own is in the snow, right? And I'm like, okay, fuck it, let me just buckle down and get this done. And I hear a voice in the loudspeaker outside. He said, ma'am, are you okay? I said, what? He was like, do you need some help? I was like, yes. He said, cool, no problem. A man comes out of the storage place and he helps me get all my shit in storage. And I'm like, wow, 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 wow. Like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, right? So then he does that. We get in the storage place, and I'm like, okay, I need to get a cab to my people's house because all I had on me was what I needed, and that's it. Everything else I didn't need was in the storage. So can I use your phone? Because my phone died. And she's like, girl, I'm trying to get a cab. And I was like, well, let me call too. And I'll see if I could get a cab. I said, where are you going? She said, 229th and Paulding. I'm like, girl, I'm going to 229th and Shefflin. I was like, don't worry about it. I got you. In 2 minutes, I got a cab. So I said, you and I will split the cab, and you don't got to worry about it. I'll pay whatever. So all you have to do is pay whatever the little extra is. And don't worry about it. She was like, thank you, sis, no problem. We get in, we wait for the cab. So now the snow is like 5 inches, 6 inches, right? And I'm like, oh my God, how are we going to get in the cab? Here come the Jamaican cab, right? He pulls up, he's like, you call a cab? He's smoking a fat spliff. We was like, yeah, man. He said, don't worry about it. When I tell you this Jamaican was gunning it in the snow, he was skidding, but he was driving the cab like it was a snowmobile on some like expert shit. And I was like, yo, do you have more weed? He was like, yes, man. What you want? A 20? I got a 20. I mean, I do that on the side too. I was like, give me 2 20s. He was like, bet. Boom. I get out of there. I'm right near my boy's house, so now I'm happy. Now I'm like, cool. I'm gonna get me some chicken. I'm gonna get me some tequila. I'm gonna bless up the house. I go in the store. It ain't nothing but the hood. The whole hood is in this liquor store, right? And I was like, okay, let me get this, that, and the third. And I smelled more weed. And I was like, damn, that smells booming. He was like, yo, sis, you could have my last 2 bags. I was like, word? He's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I got more up in the crib. You could have them. Like, I told him I had a hard day. So here it is. I'm just moving through, and life is just like, here, bitch, take that. Here, take this. Here, take that. Here's some extra chicken because they getting ready to close from the blizzard, and they got all this chicken. He was like, listen, you can have extra chicken if you want it because we closing. I was like, bet. I get all my shit. I got my little stuff. I go upstairs. I go get the key from my sis. My dude had the whole room set up for me. I brought food. We start DJing. And when I tell you, like, he was an old boyfriend of mine. That's why I had, thought to call him. Let me tell you, that blizzard, I got my put through the mattress. Like, I went from having the worst day of my entire life to getting my back blown out in a blizzard with my people, and I was safe. And it taught me so much about good energy and doing the right thing and putting that out, because it will always come back. Just like the evil shit you do gets put out and comes back. Because this little bitch was evil as hell, and now she's all like, oh, putting on the brave face, trying to make it work. But I know, just by reading the shit, that this bitch is trying to make it seem like she ain't suffering, but she is, right? And there's a part of me that's like, good bitch, suffer. But that's not good for me spiritually, so whatever. So that brings me to another thing. Let me just put this on pause right quick. So I found this image, right? And it kind of hit me hard, like, this is negative energy. This is how this shit infects you. So if you look at this picture, right? It's almost like it's the black smoke thing I was talking about. When you're living in such negativity and everything in your body is anger and hate and bitterness and scheming and plotting and jealousy and envy, and I'm going to get this and I'm going to take it from her. This is what you look like. This is what you're carrying around with you, that black shit, right? This is why you have to be careful who you fucking, who you with, who you spending time with, because that shit is real. That you see how all of that negative energy is being projected at someone else. It's almost like they have to offload it because they cannot deal with the karma of their actions. It's like a stink. It's like a stench. It's like, and now that I see it in people, it's like, wow, man, like you don't think that shit is real, but it really is. Your energy, and it works in the opposite as well. When your energy is bright, when your energy is positive, you can transfer that to someone else too and make their life better. I think that's what happened in that Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I knew that that woman was in the same place I was, and I tried to at least make her day less fucked up. And in doing so, the universe made my day less fucked up. You know what I mean? And I hope that woman and her kid, I think towards the end of the conversation, like they had family that was going to take them in. So it worked out okay. But it's the truth. Like when you living on that dark, nasty shit, you can infect people with it. You can be infected by it. Right? So here's the other image I saw. Hold on. So here's the other image that shows you how that shit gets transferred. Now, again, you could think this is theoretical and you could call it maybe demons if you're spiritual, but I honestly believe just like you have brain waves and you have pheromones and you have, energy coming off of you, people can give that shit to you, but good or bad. And when I looked at this, I'm like, now that guy that I saw, he was like, listen, if you fuck the wrong person, you automatically gonna know about it because your money's gonna get fucked up. Your relationships are gonna start getting fucked up. You're gonna start fighting with people that you never fought with before. All of a sudden shit starts breaking down. Contracts are not getting renewed, right? And you think it's bad luck, but no, it's the evil people you fucking with that's transferring that shit to you. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to be a loner and stay away from people. It helps if you're on a spiritual path to stay away from people and be a loner because it keeps your energy pure so that you choose who you want to be around instead of just randomly being around people, which is why I'm glad I don't take trains anymore. Like, I was in the supermarket one day, right? And we waiting online, and there's these Dominican people behind me, and they getting mad close. So I move up a little bit, like, yo, back the fuck up, and they keep moving up close on me, and the woman is like way too close. So I step outside of the line, and I look at her, and she's getting twitchy and weird and shit, and I'm like, the fuck is you doing? And it's like, that's that demon shit. It's like, you don't know this person. You ain't never seen this person in your life, but you trying to roll up and stand all close. Like, nobody else on that line was doing that shit. And I started being like, this is what it looks like. This is what that demonic shit looks like. This woman don't got no fucking reason to be damn near standing on my back. For what? What, you trying to touch me with something, bitch? What are you doing? And so the rest of the time, I'm just looking at her like, what's up? Make your move. And she's talking in Spanish like I don't understand. Like, I'm half Puerto Rican. I understand what you're saying, right? But you think I don't. And so I was like, all right. And it's like she was on that Santeria shit, right? Because I could see the beads. And I was like, yeah, you're not fucking with my energy. You're not going to touch me and put some shit on me or whatever. And it was like, damn. I don't know if it's just because I became aware of it or if motherfuckers was always like this. But like, why you know what I'm saying? Her and her man. And they both had the beads on. And I'm like, you think I don't know what's up, but I know how you motherfuckers are. You be touching people, you be trying to steal energy from people, and it's this in the picture. That's what they are. They got this nasty cloud, and all they want to do is infect you with that shit because they can't sit in it themselves. They already know they're damned. They already know they're cursed, whatever you want to make the words for it. They already know. They already know they're walking around with that black shit in their soul, and all they want to do is put it on somebody else. That's how they get happy. That's how they get a thrill. They know they're cursed, so they're gonna try to touch and put and hex. And I'm telling you, you got to be aware of this shit. And it's not just Spanish people. It's not just black people. Russians do this shit. Albanians do this shit. Indians do this shit. Like, every culture on earth has those kind of fucked up people that have no soul, that have nothing inside of them but that black shit. And their whole, like, you can say that I don't necessarily say I believe in the devil. I know the whole Lucifer cast out of heaven and took the angels with him, and those became the demons. And I get that story, but really, it's just people with nothing inside of them that gives them any joy, hope, happiness. They're just black holes. A black hole is nothingness that sucks people, it sucks things, light into it, and it disappears. That's what they're trying to be to people, a black hole that sucks in your energy because they can't generate it themselves. Their whole life is reacting off of what they do to people. They can't make that happen in their own heart, in their own soul. And it makes you wonder. And not for nothing, I've seen children, and it's about how strong your vessel is, right? Your vessel, you could say it's your body, your soul, or whatever, but it's your mind, really. It's what your mind is thinking. If you wake up every day thinking, I don't have this, I don't have that, they have this, they have that, I want what they have, you are going to be in fucking misery for the rest of your fucking life. If you wake up every morning and you have to be drunk because you can't deal with your feelings, you are going to be inhabited by some force or something that's just going to run you. Not only are they inhabited by these things, right, but it's pushing them to do shit that's only going to destroy them in the end. It's really suicidal, weird shit. It's crazy to me. Like, I would never. If I had to spend the rest of my life alone, I would be happy. As long as I have books, my food, my music, as long as I could go take a walk and see the sun, I could do that. I've gone months without talking to people, so I can live like that. These people, they can't even sit 5 minutes with themselves without having to pull somebody else into their lives. That's what this is. And you guys have to be fucking careful. You really do. Especially now. Not just because, just to keep yourself safe as a human being in this world, but there's a lot of people walking around with their brains damaged. There's people that are losing. You could say it was COVID, that made people impaired. You could say it was the vax too, but it's deeper than that. There's a lack of light in the world right now. There's a lack of people giving off light. And if you give off light, the demons are going to be attracted to you like bugs are attracted to a light. And you have to protect your shit, man, because these people are fucking sick. They really are sick. And part of me feels bad. Like, I feel badly for you that you can't love yourself enough to stop stalking somebody, stop harassing people. I feel bad that you don't love yourself enough to stop jumping on random dick and getting AIDS. Like this, check this shit out. There's a new STD in the UK called Donavenosis that is a flesh-eating shit. This shit is flesh-eating. So not only do you have an STD, but it's killing you and eating you from the inside out, and you die of sepsis. Go look that shit up, Donavenosis. And it's a rare disease, and now that shit it's a disease that's only found in tropical climates. One of them, that shit's going around the UK. Guaranteed it'll be here in a month or two. If it's spreading in the UK, it'll be here in 6 months. And then all of a sudden, they said that it makes your genitals necrotic. So your coochie lips start rotting off. Your dick starts rotting off. Your balls. Like, what? Like, what are we living in when there's new STDs that like if the old ST, it's almost like the universe was like, wait, they got cures for the old STDs? Wait, they got like PrEP and all that for that? All right, so let's make a new one. Here's a new one. Now it's going to eat your pussy lips off and you're going to die of fucking sepsis. And it's kind of like that's where we're at right now. People are on a really, really negative vibe. Now, astrologically, for those who are inclined, right? Uranus is in Gemini now, right? Nigga, the last time Uranus was in Gemini was World War II. That was the last time that transit happened, and that's happening now. And World War II was one of the most darkest, most fucked up, like, people. It wasn't just the fact that they were Nazis and the Japanese and we were fighting them. They were doing horrible shit. The comfort women, taking these women as hostages to be prostitutes for the fucking Japanese soldiers, and then they would get killed. The fact that they were, what they did to the Jews and the gypsies and all of the people that were spying for the Nazis against the resistance, and when they liberated the camps and they went into Berlin, the fucking Russians, the shit the Russians did to the Germans when they went in 1945 is even more scandalous than the shit the Nazis was doing to the Jews. Like, that whole period of time was so fucking dark. The shit they was doing to people was fucking dark. And you starting to see it happening again now, man. You're starting to see it. You're starting to see the way those ICE people are just rolling up on people and throwing them in black vans. You seeing it in the way that you got white people out in fucking Utah and Montana that's making white-only towns again because they are emboldened to do that, which, more power to you. You want to live in the West Bubba fucking somewhere in the fucking Ozarks with white people? Hey, I ain't gonna shit on that. Go ahead. And honestly, what black person gonna want to go live in the fucking Ozarks with a bunch of hillbillies? Like, realistically, nobody, right? But it's the fact that they can do that again now and not have any shame about it. Calling people niggers, like, that shit don't bother me. If you that stupid that all you could come up with is calling me a nigger, you ain't worth the time, right? But to have these women, I saw one video with this white lady. It was a bunch of Puerto Rican kids on the porch. They got the flag up, everything. This white lady's like, you're all on Section 8 and da-da-da. And they're like, yo, lady, go back in your house. Mind your business. Like, enough, right? This bitch came on the porch and tried to like hit one of the kids. They knocked her ass the fuck out, put her to sleep, and then told her man, come get your bitch off my porch. And that racist white man, he couldn't do nothing but just drag his completely unconscious bitch off these people's porch. Like, they clocked her ass good. And it's like, we're in that era where people don't give a fuck no more. There's people who are so black-hearted and black-souled, they think they really gonna step to you. And this is my call to the righteous, if that's what you want to call it. If you're not about that shit, if you're not about letting these people step, then you have to be willing to stop being nice and get in motherfuckers' faces, knock them out. Like, don't have no fear for that shit, because you see this picture. They don't give a fuck if they're going to infect you with their negative shit. So why should you not fight back? You're not coming over here with this shit. And that's what I told this bitch. I was like, okay, so if you reading my shit, bitch, here's what it is. If I ever see you physically in my presence, I ain't going to say nothing. I'm going to just beat your ass. I'm going to drag you up and down the fucking street. And I'm going to beat your ass so bad that you're not going to be able to do nothing. Don't you know? Like, she was talking about, oh, I'm coming to New York. I have something really important. It's exciting to do. And then I wrote that shit. And 5 minutes later, she read that. She was like, you know what, guys? I think I have to cancel my trip because I'm not really feeling well. And I think I should just stay home. Because she knew what it was. She knew. If I ever see you, it is on sight. Not one word will be spoken. You will just be seeing my fist coming back out of your face repeatedly. I will drag you by your hair up and down the street till you look like street pizza. Because if you think you're going to infiltrate my life, then you're going to get what you get. You don't know who I am. You don't know me. And you're operating under the assumption that I'm your competition. So if I'm your competition, then that means I get to whoop your ass. So she knows. She knows. I'm pretty sure I'm rid of her, and whatever she's going through has her occupied. But what a fucking lesson that was. Like, there's people out here that don't have nothing better to do with their lives but to try to force themselves into yours with this black-hearted shit. And you have to be aware of it. You have to, how do you fortify yourself? And there's a brother that I follow, and he was like, first of all, you have to stand in your power. Now, here's another belief that I went down the rabbit hole with that I do have. I do believe that you're protected by your ancestors, or at least the people that loved you in this life that have passed on. They protect you. Absolutely. They'll come to you in your dreams. They'll come to you in a thought. There'll be a song that comes on that reminds you of them, that grounds you and gets you back in your purpose, right? And this guy said that when you stand in your power, when you know who you are, when you know where your spirit is, when you believe in whatever God you believe in, whether you call it God or Krishna or Jehovah or whatever it is, right? When you know that you are on the side of light and good, and you want the best for yourself and other people, and you walk in that, none of that shit will ever touch you. The only way that it touches you is if you fear it. You cannot have any fear of these fucking people. Not one. First of all, their souls are lost. So what the fuck is there to fear? They already sold their shit. They already walking around empty. So what do you escape? What's there to be scared of? One. Two, nobody can ever take anything from you that is yours, that belongs to you, that's destined to you, that God gives you. If you have a talent, ain't nobody gonna take that from you. If you have a gift, with anything, whatever it is, if it's inherently you and you're using your gifts to the strongest of your ability, there's nothing in the world that's ever going to take that shit away from you. Never. No matter how crazy they are. Like, it's amazing to me that we live in this time where people think, oh, well, she's famous and I can be too. Yes, maybe you will get viral on your TikTok and be famous. But for what? And will that sustain you? Is that a talent or is that attention seeking? You have to develop something in your life that means something, that not only means something to you, but can be meaningful to other people, right? And something that's going to exist after you have gone. TikTok ain't even going to exist. I mean, I'm being a bitch to TikTok, I know. But like, what I'm saying is half the shit these people are doing on TikTok to get likes, to get noticed, it ain't nothing but them. It's doom porn. It's them yapping about the minutia of their lives, and it's kind of like the only people that find this entertaining are other empty people. If you're filled with something and you have a purpose, this shit is it's you're wasting time scrolling through half the shit on TikTok. Maybe, like I said, maybe my algorithm, whatever. But I'm saying the shit that I'm seeing the young people trying to get famous for is like, bitch, what? Half the girls are just getting BBLs and shaking their asses in cameras, and of course they're gonna get noticed for that. But you only getting noticed by the buzzards that like BBLs. And then you got, there's a few people on social media that I've, besides the cute boy, that I like. Like, there's these two twin sisters. Not two twin sisters, they're twins. I hate when I do that, right? But they're twins, and they have these little robotic cameras that roll around with like eyes on them. These two are hilarious, and they're not doing anything spectacular. They're not trying to change the world, but they're having so much fun goofing with each other with these little robots that I adore watching. I love watching them because they make me laugh, and they're having fun. That's all you gotta do is enjoy your life and do fun, positive shit and help other people have a good day. If you can do that, that right there is worth its weight in gold. If you can do that. Um, there's other people doing business stuff. You know, I learn a lot. I learn a lot from people, and my algorithm knows what to send me, so I'm always learning something every day. But on X, man, it's a different vibe. Like, there's just a lot of mentally ill, because Elon is mentally ill. So once he took that block off, we're now, my block list on Twitter has got to be at least 1,000, 1,500 people, because that's how many crazy motherfuckers is on that app. And now every one of those crazy motherfuckers can see what I write. So I had to put my shit on private. I was like, that's it. This account is no longer for me to promote anything. It's no longer for me to speak to people. All I use it for is research, and I use Grok because Grok is cool. That's the only thing about X I like is Grok. That shit, it thinks like Elon does, and he's a weirdo, but he's got a brilliant mind, and he programmed that shit. Except for the other day when it went racist, and they had to he programmed it to have no filter in it. It immediately went racist. Immediately went to racist shit. Just like they showed some robotics company that made robots, right? Like these robots that can run and they can flip, and the first thing they did was attack the robot. Like that was their first mentality is let's attack it. Let's beat it. Let's beat it with shit. Let's knock it over and see what it does. And it started to learn to be aggressive because they were being aggressive to it. That is what Twitter is. It's a bunch of aggressive, mentally ill people that ain't got shit else to do but energy harvest off of hateful shit. And now they can see. So I had to put the whole shit on private. And I was like, that's it. This account is a throwaway account now. I only have 2 people that I actually speak directly to in responses. Because the minute I take my shit off, now I got all these fucking weirdos looking at my shit again. And it's like, this is not what I'm into. Like, Facebook is for my family and all my school friends. That's how I keep in touch with them. I don't use it for nothing but that. Maybe I'll look up stuff on Marketplace or whatever, but that's what that platform is for. Instagram is for my art. It's for my music. It's for me to enjoy myself. It's for me to find things that make me smile every day. Snapchat is for my astrology girlies that like that content, so I just give them that. LinkedIn obviously is for my professional stuff, and I got 5,000 people there that I've built up over 10 years that, the content I put there is shit that they need to know, especially when it comes to AI, when it comes to crypto and shit like that. That's what I'm doing on that platform. And I'm looking at TikTok yeah, I guess I could make a business account, but for what? Who am I? And then they have all these incentives and you got to get to this level and this level. And it's just this is supposed to be fun, right? This is a job now that I got to do with my other job just to get it. No. It's no, I can't. It's a job. You literally got to go to your job and then put in more fucking hours on this retarded app that you could get kicked off of if the Chinese people don't like what you said. Well, why am I doing that? I would rather deal with Meta and that guy, what's his name? Zuckerberg or whatever with his shit. Listen, I know he's a corrupted piece of shit and he stole this whole thing from those twins, but I can deal. This is an evil I would rather deal with because I know what it is than some Chinese social credits. You have to reach a certain level to get this, and then you get to the top level and you make $10,000 in an hour, and it's but what are you doing? What are you making $10,000 for? And then you look at the lives, and it's just these streamers that just kind of I look at that Kyle Sanat kid, and I'm like, what is this kid actually doing? At least Speed. I like Speed because he's a physical kid. He's out there doing shit. He's racing niggas. He's flipping off of shit. He's talking to ballers, and he's active in what he does. So I can understand why Speed is Speed. But that Sanat kid, Like, what does this nigga do? He's just sitting in his room talking shit and he's getting millions for that. For what? I All right, so I ranted long enough. This is what, an hour and 44 minutes. This is what I used to do with my people years ago when podcasting first started. Because I'm not at a point yet where I want to be on camera for shit. I barely put up pictures of myself. And I stopped doing it because when I found out these evil motherfuckers take your picture and do shit with it, I'm like, I don't want that. But somebody was like, listen, you have a personality, you have art. People might like your art, but they need to like you. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But Banksy is the most respected artist in the world. Everybody knows who his work, but don't nobody know who he is. They don't know what he looks like. So why they gotta know what I look like for me to do my thing? Like, I don't like that. I would rather, I don't want to be famous. I want to be quietly rich. I want to make my money quietly. I want to compound it quietly. And I just want to roam the earth in peace doing what I do. I don't give a fuck if people know me. I don't give a fuck if people like me. I've been disliked by enough people, but I don't care. I would just give me the money, give me the quiet money. Let me invest it wisely. Let me get old gracefully. You don't have to ever see my face to do that. And that's a very good thing. If you're not somebody that wants to be out there with your face in front of everybody, but you want to make money, there's so many ways to do it now because of AI and Web3 and cryptocurrency and blockchain and all of this. You have a way of making yourself, of enriching yourself and enriching your life without having to sell your soul to some conglomerate, without having to put yourself out there to be criticized by people that don't do shit with their own fucking lives. It's like, celebrity don't mean nothing to me no more, because any fucking goofball in their room with a camera could get famous for stupid shit. There was niggas licking toilets. Motherfuckers was out here filming themselves licking fucking toilets, and that went viral. Like, fame don't mean nothing. Like, I tried to watch the Grammys, and I was like, I remember the Grammys in the 70s and 80s. It was meaningful music. It was Stevie Wonder with Songs in the Key of Life, and Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, and all these people making this beautiful music, this soulful, beautiful music. And then you go and look at the Grammys, and Ice Spice is in that shit. Ice Spice. This bitch is some Dominican bitch from the Bronx that just be like, every time I see Ice Spice, she looks so bored with her life. She looks like they just put a battery in her back and she's just a robot shaking her ass. She don't even rhyme good. Like, Latifah is a rapper. Lauryn Hill was a rapper, even though Lauren's a mess. But MC Lyte, Moni Love, like, these were girls that sat down and wrote lyrics and spit that shit with, like, integrity. These girls now, like Megan and Cardi, they're just strippers that say shit. They're strippers with a production crew in the background. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking them. You know, look at Glorilla. That bitch just got arrested for drugs in fucking Atlanta, looking high as fuck. Like, these girls are not about artistry. They're about clout and attention. And they're all basically strippers with record deals. And that is not talent. They're only getting up because dudes like that stripper shit and girls are trying to emulate it. But there's no artistry. There's nobody out right now that I'm feeling. The only person I was feeling musically was Adele, because I love her voice. And I'm like, yo, Adele is in that Anita Baker, Chaka Khan kind of, they just stand there and sing and give it to you and you feel what they're singing. And I respect that, right? I loved Amy Winehouse when she was alive and I felt horrible when she died, but I can see why she died, because that fucking business sucks. It's full of devils. It's just full of fucking devils. You can't even have a talent no more without the devils. That's what Sinners was about. The whole premise of Sinners was that he had this talent, he had this God-given ability to sing, and that fucking devil Remick wanted it for himself. That was the ultimate destiny swapping movie. If you're still on earth and haven't watched Sinners, you have to watch it. That was the whole basis of it, was that he could sing, He could play that guitar. He could emit this beautiful sound. And that demon Remick heard that shit and said, oh, yeah, I'm going to get that. That's exactly what the music industry is. That is exactly what it is. That whole movie was like a subtle parable of the entertainment industry. You have a talent, you're beautiful. The first thing that's gonna happen to you is them vultures is gonna swoop in and try to control you and siphon that shit for themselves. And you cannot let that happen. Whatever you do that's a talent, that's the beauty of blockchain. You can do your own shit and copyright that shit and put it on the chain, and that shit is immutable. Nobody can steal it from you. It belongs to you. Protect your wallet, and that's it. You could do all your contracts for that shit. Nobody can change the contract. Do you know that Jay-Z just put a Nigerian girl, I think, some artist, put her on a contract and told her she can't have a man, she can't have a baby for 5 years, that she can't do none of that shit. And I'm kind of like, where does this nigga get the right? Didn't you swoop your Beyonce bitch up when she was 19, nigga? So why are you putting her on lock? She wasn't put on no lock. She was 19 and fucking you. You know what I'm saying? This little church bitch that you turned out and shit. But now all of a sudden, this girl, she can't have a man. She can't have a baby. Who the fuck are you to say that? And what are you going to do for her career to compensate for that? Like, I don't like that. Don't get me started on Jay-Z. Like, I had a whole other thing about Jay-Z, but I'm going to leave it there. If you stuck with me through this whole conversation, God bless you. Yeah, just protect your fucking energy, man. Don't let this become your life. People, don't let a big BBL ass, don't let a chick that looks like she's gonna fuck you good. Those are the worst ones, man. This is another thing I'm gonna leave you with, okay? It's scientifically known that when a woman has sex with a man, especially unprotected, that man's DNA stays in her system. Even more so if she has his baby. Those cells from him stay in you. They become part of you. They alter your own DNA, right? Even if you don't have a baby by him, if you're getting ejaculated into by a man, you're harnessing that motherfucker's DNA in your body. Not just that, but his energy too. So imagine a chick jumping on multiple dicks, getting blasted off in by multiple men. You don't know what the fuck she's carrying. She's carrying the DNA, the misery, the depression, the fucking anger issues. All that shit is harboring itself inside this chick. She may look hot. The devil always appears in a pleasing shape, right? She could be a hottie, she could be a baddie. That's the very bitch that's gonna have you fucked up, fucking up your money, fucking up your health. And men are so blinded by the big ass and the titties and the eyelashes and oh baby, poppy, let me break you off. My neck game is. Men will always be susceptible for that shit, and it will always get them killed somehow. But now I just think it's worse. I think there's just a deeper level of grime to it because these girls don't have no self-respect. They don't have no self-preservation. So if they're willing to put themselves in that position, they just gonna transfer that shit to you. And vice versa. You don't know if let me tell you, this nigga is going to jail on purpose and staying in jail just because they like getting dicked down in jail. And they can do that shit and not get ostracized. I saw this one bitch. He was like happy. He was a happy faggot. I'm sorry, I'm going to use that word with this one. I don't usually call gay men faggots. There's gay men and then there's faggots. This bitch was like, honey, I went to jail and I was only supposed to be there for 1.5 years, but I decided that I was going to stay. So he committed some crime in jail to get extra time and he turned himself into a fucking jail Like he was a jail hoe. He he's like, I would get free shit. I would always get free shit. If these niggas got shit, I got shit. And he was proud of that. He was on the internet saying this. And I'm like, what must your mama think? He was like, my neck game is silly. It's silly. He was like, I would still be in there, but they told me I had to leave. Bitch, what? I could not believe it. And yet there are dudes that once they go to jail and they start getting that dick in jail, they can't come back out and live a normal life again. So they'll stay in that motherfucker. They'll rob somebody, they'll shank somebody, knowing full fucking well they're gonna get extra time. And just stay there riding dick till it gets AIDS or they get kicked out of jail or they get shanked. This bitch was happy as fuck. He was like, I would totally go back. He was like, it was like Disneyland for me. I was like, wow, that's a level of faggotry that I can't even fathom. And I'm sorry if that word offends you, but that's faggotry. There's gay men that love other men, that's fine. But to be happy to be in jail because you getting dick and stay in jail extra? Child, we living in crazy days. Crazy, crazy days. Watch your soul. Keep your soul clear. Only keep people in your life that you know are on the up and up. And if you got a question about it, then that's too much. There's nothing wrong with going into solitude, going in, cleansing your energy, cleansing your spirit, getting back in touch with whatever God you believe in. Or even if you don't believe in God, just getting in touch with your soul. Because there are way too many fucking people out here that will try to pollute you with their evil, and we don't want that for you. We want you to be prosperous, we want you to be healthy, and we want you to stay in the light. All right? Stay in the light.